Hello my creative friends, Olga Sobi here and welcome to new acrylic pouring video. How about some rich, vibrant colors on dark base? I want to continue the gradient pour painting exploration. I have done gradient pour on black and white color split base. I've done one on just white base, so today time to try on black, or rather dark base. I have some very beautiful warm reds and yellow and orange colors that are gonna be for my gradient, and here is the color of the base. Let's see how it turns out. Without further ado, let's get started. Radiance is a secret message for this piece, and here I have black and some violet. I didn't really overmix them, so there is some pure black, pure violet. I don't know if this is gonna make a whole lot of difference because this violet color dries really dark, so might as well all look just black when it's dry, but I thought it would be fun to add a little bit of violet as well, because along with these colors I'm gonna be adding some white, and when white blends into violet it looks fabulous. So therefore adding some violet. Here I also have a bit of copper. Let's blend this in. I think the base already looks very interesting. Copper is one color that I don't use a whole lot. I'm a big fan of gold, but I thought that with all my warm colors, with red color palette, it might look fabulous. And the copper that I'm using today is by brand Pebeo. It's iridescent copper, and it really helps to achieve this beautiful cell and lacing reaction when used along with other colors. And by the way, all of my colors today are mixed with water only, no other additives. Simple as that. Okay, let's start adding in some of those colors. So today I want to have only 3 puddles of paint on my base, and I want to start just with white because red colors tend to be very transparent, and when used on dark base they really look much darker and duller when dry. So adding white base really helps to keep them nice and vibrant. I also want to add just a touch of copper on top and also some gold. Still can't go without gold, but it always works amazing when used with red colors. Well, quite frankly, gold works amazing with most colors. Okay, let's blow this out. So in my previous pours, I have started with the top and moved down. Today I'm gonna try going the other way around. So I'll start with my bottom puddle and move my way up. Because I put my puddles of paint so far from each other, previously I've been putting them very close, and this time I wanted to try only 3, so I put them quite apart. They don't really blend as much into each other, They look more like 3 separate bursts of color, and I don't know how I feel about it. Do I like it or don't like it? I do love it more now with some red added here and more of the red violet on the bottom, because I wanted this color to be bright, but again, when it's gonna be dry, it's not gonna be as bright. It's gonna be more dark when using such a dark base. But yeah, a lot now with a little bit of finger swipe and more color, it has a lot more continuous flow. But I think for next pour, I will make sure for this gradient effect to put colors closer to each other, because it doesn't work as well when they're so far. But I still love it, and see how this copper pops, and I think it will look very cool when it's dry. Makes me think of a dragon, dancing dragon, this piece. I love this here and this gorgeous lacing. And all this movement in negative space, it makes it look very dynamic. Alright, let's see how it dries. I will be right back to show you the finished result. Alright, my friends, so here it is dry. And I would say that this painting is quite different from my regular style, especially different from previous gradient pour paintings that I've done. And there are things about it that I do like and I don't like. So first of all, something that I don't really like is that because I placed my puddles of color so far from each other, there's no even continuous flow in the composition. I added that finger swipe and it did help to connect everything pretty well, but even with that, it looks more like separate bursts rather than continuous gradient of color like I wanted to create. So something to keep in mind for future pour. Also, you can see that my reds dried really dark, and although they look quite fabulous with a dark background and some pops of white, because they dried darker, my yellow looks too bright, and it really over-dominating this whole color composition. I should have added a little bit more red in my yellow section and maybe some yellow throughout these puddles. This way it would be more balanced. Another thing that I don't really like is that my bursts of color are a little bit too washed out. A little too much, but at the same time, all this movement, it really makes this background very interesting, which brings me to my next point of the things that I do like about this piece. Because of all these blows in the base, this background looks super interesting with pops of color and all this movement. The whole thing looks super dramatic and super dynamic. I also love where I had enough white between my reds and the dark base. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Just look at this part. It looks like those sections, they're just glowing from the inside out. I love it. I also love that I have pops of metallic all throughout this flow. You can see this bursts of gold. And there is some gold and copper here, and of course in my red violet section. So that really makes this whole thing a lot more interesting. I love that there's this movement, and there's also this movement, which sort of balance it out. So yeah, it's different, but I like it. And you know what? Not every pour turns out perfect, but there is something that I definitely can learn from this one to implement in my next pours. Guys, let me know, how do you like the process? How do you like the outcome? If there is anything you like, don't like about this pour, I will chat with you in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care, stay creative. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.